Welcome back to The Fourth Kind. It's about the 5 craziest drugs in the world. The first one is a super-powered marijuana that the military designed.
Oh dear.
Yeah. It's called dimethylheptylpyran.
Come again?
The military designed it. It's so powerful that 1 milligram of this completely incapacitated soldiers for 3 days to where they couldn't perform duties, they could barely even function. It completely wiped out like their motor skills and everything.
Sounds like something I want when I have a cold.
What? Just gone for 3 days?
So I can heal. I don't have to deal with the sickness or anything.
You just wake up 3 days later?
Yeah, have a full beard
asleep,
and everything.
Though. You're not asleep.
Well, do I remember anything?
Wiped.
Just gone.
You know how it is?
Mm.
Like, just think about the worst time you ever had with... Don't do drugs, guys.
Yeah.
Don't do it. I'm just going to end that conversation right there. Number 2 is poop. It's a drug called jenkem, which is made out of fermented urine and feces. What you do... Well, don't do this. But what they do is they poop in a jar and they pee in a jar. They put a little balloon on the top and leave it out in the sun to ferment and just waste. Isn't that disgusting?
That smells like a silly, smelly situation.
In the 1990s, in Zambia? I thought it was Zamibia, but I guess it's Zambia. Homeless children and street children would, poop in jars and pee in jars and let it ferment, and then it's an inhalant hallucinogen. It gives you auditory hallucinations and visual hallucinations. And they would do this just for, recreational purposes, like just huffing your own poop, or maybe your friend's poop. I don't want to do that.
Who was the first person to be like...
That's a good question.
Let's do our business in a jar, put a balloon on it, and then wait a few months and
You know what I think it probably was? Like, oh, we're on a road trip, I really gotta go. You know what I mean? Poop.
Yeah.
Couple months later, dude, smell my poop. Smelled it?
What year did you say it was made?
The 90s.
Oh.
And then in 2007, in schools in America, kids were doing this. And it was this big, epidemic, moral values were coming into question because of this. I'm guessing they're thinking, how are these kids anywhere near, morally responsible if they're just pooping in jars and inhaling it to hallucinate? I mean, I assume that's what they're talking about. It's
Kids
crazy.
these days.
I had a friend that actually did this.
Why? What made him do it?
He said it was a very crappy time. Number 3.
Are we on number 3?
Uh-huh. This one is called Scopolamine, or burundanga, otherwise known as devil's breath. This is, I'm pretty sure it originated in Colombia. It is a powder derived from a nightshade plant. This powder, criminals will blow it into people's faces. What it does to you is immediately highly increases suggestibility and almost puts you into a sleepwalking state.
So it's like hypnosis.
Yeah, exactly. Where, if I blew it in your face...
What the...
I was gonna
Dude, is that why you had that cup over there?
Yeah.
I saw it, I was like, what is that? Why'd you blow my face?
The drug.
Is it powder? Is it just powder, or is it something?
It's the drug.
No, it's not.
You would basically turn into a servant of mine in a way. Anything I told you to do, you wouldn't have any problems with. If I told you to give me your wallet, you would. If I told you to go to your bank account, type in all your numbers and codes, and transfer all your money to me, you would. And this is happening more and more. And it's even spreading to France. Apparently in Paris, a woman she talked these two women into inhaling the powder, and then she told them to take her back to their houses and to give her all of their valuables, all their jewels, money, you know, TVs and stuff. I assume TVs, that's what I would do. Don't do that. And they did it. They did it. And then I guess eventually they went and told the police, and there's like more and more of these events happening every day.
So you remember what happens, but you have no control?
Right. I think you remember what happened. That's scary, man. Don't go to Colombia.
I don't think I ever will.
Or if you do, be the blower instead of the blowy.
I'll just have a gas mask.
Number 4. This one's called Momo Dragonfly. It is another hallucinogen, a psychedelic hallucinogen, basically, like LSD. It's only 1/3 as potent as LSD, but the duration is just insanely longer. 3 or 4 days this lasts. Man, that would be awful. It really would. Like, imagine, like, you'd think it would last forever. Like, what if you didn't know? What if you didn't know? What if you just thought it was regular LSD? You take it,
and
what
if like time was super slow in that?
Yeah, because time dilation is an effect of certain, you know, drugs like that.
It'd be like an eternity.
Yeah, like if you didn't know and somebody gave it to you and you said, "Is this gonna wear off soon?" After like 8 hours, you'd start freaking out and be like, "It's not wearing off," and then 2 days later, you still got 24 hours left at least. I don't know what I'd do. Anyway,
like a bad day.
It's named after a dragonfly because of its chemical structure. It looks like a dragonfly, and I'll put a picture of it up. Yeah, it's just super long duration, not very potent. Why would you want to do that? I don't understand. Like, I can see experimenting with things, but when it lasts for 3 days, like, who has the guts to try that for the first time?
And the willpower just
knowing what they're going into.
To deal with that for 3 days.
Would you do that?
No, absolutely not.
Alright.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I would either. I mean, that kind of stuff scares me. Like, I don't know. Finally, number 5. This one is very horrible.
And disrupting.
To the physical body. Its chemical name is desomorphine. It's either a byproduct or it's a precursor to actual morphine. But it's 8 to 10 times stronger than morphine when compared dose by dose. Very prevalent in Russia, at least it was a few years ago, it probably still is, due to the inability of people to find heroin and, you know, the expense of it, because apparently desomorphine or crocodile is much cheaper to buy and to make. In Russia, you can get codeine over the counter, which is one of the main ingredients, as well as red phosphorus, which is also one of the ingredients in methamphetamine. There's actually similarities between the two. And since this is being homemade by people, first of all, it doesn't last as long as heroin, so people make it becomes a full-time job to make it and take it. They're constantly making it just so they can have it. And since people are making it themselves, there's often contaminants being cooked into it that it ends up having, I think, hydrofluoric acid or hydrochloric acid. I think it's hydrochloric acid. And when they inject themselves with this, and this is one of the reasons that it's called crocodile, that it starts rotting away the skin near the injection site. And since they do it so often, the skin starts to look reptilian and scaly. And eventually gangrene and, you know, the flesh starts rotting away. There's awful pictures of people holding up their arm and their bone. You can see right into their arm. You can see their entire bone just hanging out.
If you have a strong stomach, just go Google it. If you have the willpower to look at it. We're not going to put any pictures up because it's
really bad.
It's really bad.
But if you'd like to, I mean, check it out yourself. We can't stop you. It's really terrifying. There's videos online that you can see. It's really awful. I don't recommend it. I really don't.
It almost looks fake
Yeah.
because of how bad it looks. But it's...
And these people, there was a leg that was, they must have been injecting it into their leg. Their leg was just open up and they were walking around on it with their bone right
just
out in
like
the air.
Half of the bone was just
Showing.
there.
Awful.
I don't understand.
And it's extremely addicting too. At least as much as heroin. But I'll say it again, do not do drugs. And if you're going to anyway, do some research, be very careful, and, you know, have a trusted friend or family member with you, if you can. But that's if you're going to anyway. I'm saying don't do it.